It is mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now. Harrison Graham here, as always, ready to answer some questions. So go ahead and submit them right now. $10 super chat from Joseph. Remember the "hi, I'm in Delaware" part in Wayne's World? That would be a move to Arlington Heights. That's what a move to Arlington Heights would be. Got it. Part of the fun going to Soldier Field is the post-game downtown Chicago vibe. Thoughts? There's a lot of truth to that. Like, look, we live here in Dallas, Texas. The Cowboys play in Arlington. Now, Arlington built a cool bar restaurant area specifically for Cowboys and Texas Rangers games, but you don't get to, like, leave AT&T Stadium and go get lit in downtown Dallas. It doesn't work that way. So I think there's a lot to be said for that. I will say, Joseph, that I assume Arlington Heights would do something similar in the sense that, hey, you're building a new stadium. We're going to build a bunch of hotels, restaurants, bars. I'm not saying it's the same. I'm not saying it's the same as, kind of the aura of downtown Chicago, but I assume that would happen. But I hear you on that, man. I hear you. Like, I think the best scenario would be really giving Soldier Field a nice renovated expansion, but it doesn't seem like that's very likely. It doesn't seem that the city is that interested. And if you can't get the city on board, then you got to pursue other avenues. Jealousy says, with Phillips hiring Angelo, Emery, and Pace, do you trust him with hiring another GM? Fire Phillips. Fair question. Very fair question, Jealousy. That's why I think everything should be on the table. Everything. Like, again, you can't fire the owners, right? But I think firing everyone below ownership should be on the table. So, yeah, if firing Ted Phillips is going to help you get better coaches and GMs in here, then let's do it, man. I'm all for improving this staff and front office. Love me some Bears. If he wants to return, should the Bears re-sign Jason Peters? This is an interesting question. Jason Peters has been great this year, man. He's probably been your most consistent O-lineman, which is great for Peters, but a bad thing for the Bears because he ain't a long-term guy. But maybe he has another year in the tank. Now, the question I would have is, okay, so is Jenkins or Borum your right tackle? Now, maybe you could kick one of those guys inside at guard. James Daniels is a free agent. Cody Whitehair has kind of struggled down the stretch here. Maybe one or both of those guys is not back this year, although Whitehair is under contract. But Borum could play some guard, I think. So I wouldn't be completely opposed if Jason Peters comes to front office management and says, hey, I'd love to play another year, even if you're not guaranteeing me a starting job. I think that would be the key. If you don't have to promise him a starting job, I'm in. Bring back Jason Peters to mentor. What do you guys think? Should the Bears re-sign Jason Peters? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I think I would say yes, as long as he would be open to not feeling like he's guaranteed to start. Like, if he's willing to be a backup and be a mentor, I'm in. If not, I'd probably say no, we should focus on the younger guys. Wade Bittner with the super chat. Thoughts on how the Bears should approach this offseason for free agency? So many holes at cornerback, wide receiver, and with limited cap space. Over $40 million in projected cap. That's not nothing. Now, it's not as much as it sounds like because, if you sign two really good players, that eats up, $30 million already. And the Bears only have 26 players under contract next year. So you got to pick and choose. You got to pay your draft class, but that shouldn't cost as much without a first-round pick. So yeah, I think you got to balance which value guys can you hit on in the draft. Like the second and third round pick, got to hit on them, man. You got to get guys that can at least contribute, and at least one of those guys needs to start. Maybe you get a center in the second round of the draft. We'll see what happens. Look, could Demir Bird or Marquise Goodwin be your number 3 receiver? You got Darnell Mooney. Then you just got to find one other starting receiver, just one, and then you can just fill it with depth guys, right? Like, have Rodney Adams be your 5th receiver on the 53 man for vet minimum. Like, that's fine. It's not the best, but if you're winning and losing based on your number 5 receiver, then you got bigger problems. Jerome Sims, what's a more significant hire, head coach or GM? They're both obviously critical. Currently, I'm going to say head coach because you got to get somebody, because you've got the quarterback in place. At least you think you do, right? You got to get a coach that can connect with Fields and get the best out of them. So right now, immediately it's head coach. But GM's critical too because you got to navigate this salary cap next year, which is going to be a little tricky with the way Pace has managed things. He's pushed back money for a couple years now. Some dead cap is going to hit you. And obviously, you don't have a first-round pick, so you got to draft well. And then once you do get first-round picks back, you got to hit on those. So both are 50-50 critical. But right away, I think it's head coach. Now, something that can make you some money while the Bears try to figure out how to manage their money is BetUS, our sportsbook partner. And you guys can make money all season long at chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN. If you are on the fence and if you have not made a BetUS account yet, this is the time to do it because we've brought back our free jersey giveaway promo deal. So follow the steps on screen. Just screenshot this on your phone, on your tablet right now. Chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN for you new customers only. Deposit a minimum of $100. You'll get a 125% deposit bonus. Then just go place a bet on any game. You don't even have to bet on the NFL. It could be NBA. It could be a baseball prop bet. It doesn't matter. Just lay $5 down on some bet. And then email us, jersey@chatsports.com, because we've got the Justin Fields Navy jerseys back in stock, ready to ship out for you new BetUS customers once you follow those steps I previously mentioned. Chatsports.com/Bears. You promo code BEARDOWN, and then you email us, jersey@chatsports.com. Lightning Rod, what do you think of Sean Desai, good or bad? I think it's been a mixed bag. Injuries have hurt, of course, but I don't think it's a requirement for a new head coach to bring him back. If they want to bring him back, I will trust that person with that decision. But I think the Bears' defense has struggled as of late, especially in the secondary, and that's a big problem. One more thought on Desai. Ryan Pace has not put him in a good spot. Didn't address linebacker next to Roquan. He thought Danny Trevathan would fix that, and then he also did not address CB2 after cutting Kyle Fuller. That's GM malpractice. Nixon says, even though we have Cole Kmet, do you think the Bears draft Jeremy Ruckert since he has a relationship with Fields? You could, of course, but you can't be prioritizing tight end, man. Cole Kmet has done some good things. He needs to keep improving, but you got to kind of bank on him as tight end 1 next year because you just have too many other big needs. That's just the reality of the situation. If you want to draft a tight end on day 3 of the draft, that's fine. I'm not sure exactly where Ruckert will end up going, but let's say he's a 2nd or 3rd round guy. Can't be using that pick on a tight end. Just can't do it. Who is your dream head coach for the Chicago Bears? It's a question we've asked you guys a lot. I want to continue to ask you it because I think it's a changing conversation. For a while, I was on the Brian Daboll train. Now he slipped for me. Kellen Moore was my top guy for a while. Would still like both those guys, but I think there are other coaches that I would like as well. Dream head coach for the Chicago Bears. Let's hear it. Alan Mack, we got a couple more to get to. If we get Sean Payton, would he get the keys to the car, as in he gets to pick the new GM and staff? I don't know. So there's a lot of theories out there because Ryan Pace was on the Saints, in the Saints front office while Payton was there. Obviously, he's still there, of course. And a lot of people think, well, Pace could help you get Payton. Now, if you can get Payton and that means Ryan Pace has to stay, I'd probably do it because I think Sean Payton's that good. But I don't know. I don't know how that would work. Typically, the GM hires the coach. So maybe that's how you get a guy like Sean Payton, though. You give him more control and more power of things within the roster. Danny Zeff, the Bears' first-round pick for the Giants, looking great for them. I know Justin Fields, but the Bears could finally use that potential top 10 pick. Sure, but you would be wanting to draft a quarterback, right, Danny? If you had that top 10 pick and you didn't have Fields, and this was Andy Dalton and Nick Foles playing this year, you'd want a quarterback. So ask yourself this. Would you rather have Justin Fields or Kenny Pickett or Matt Corral? I'll take Justin Fields. I mean, that's what that comes down to. I know that in our brains, we're like, man, you could really draft an elite corner or something like that. Yeah, you could, but you still wouldn't have your quarterback problem fixed. You know what I mean? So it's a give and take, but I think, while I like to rip Ryan Pace, I think that trade was still the right move. Ilian Schatz, highlight of the season so far. Drafting Justin Fields. That's what producer Jack said. During the season, honestly, even though they lost, the way Fields played in the second half against Pittsburgh, that was like, man, dude, to come back in that environment, down 20-6, entering the fourth, leads that 2-minute drive. It ain't his fault the defense couldn't seal the deal. It ain't his fault there were some awful calls in that game. I think I've seen enough promising signs from Fields in big moments that he can lead this team, man. You just got to get the right staff and players around him. So I think watching Fields in some of those big moments, that just one play in particular, that fourth down spin move, reverse field scramble against the Niners for a touchdown, that was electric. That might be the play of the year in the NFL. That was absolutely fantastic. If the Bears fire Matt Nagy, we're going live, so subscribe, help us continue to grow. But probably when you're watching this, we're across 38,000 subscribers. But if you're watching live, hit that sub button. Hopefully they fire Nagy, and we can go live and celebrate. Angel Guillen, should a former Bears player be head coach? I don't think that's a requirement now. Now, if you want to get Jim Harbaugh, sure. I'm cool with Harbaugh, but that's not a requirement for me. All right, last one here. Corey Crawford, lover. Shout out to the Blackhawks. Allen Robinson coming back. Dude, what he did on Sunday night against the Packers, that effort was a joke, man. I'm not going to lie. Now, if you get a new staff in here that can re-energize him and you can get him on a discount because of how he's played this year, I guess I'd be okay with it. But right now, I'd have to lean a hard no.